Oh my God, I love having this conversation because it reminds me of everything that I love again about exploring the world and traveling and interacting. These are the things that we should be discussing as as humans now.
If you've ever been curious about what the favorite places are of world travelers and travel bloggers who've been to 50, 100, or more countries, then you are going to love this video. Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Erick Prince, the Minority Nomad. Erick is a long-term expat who's been living in Bangkok, Thailand for more than 8 years, but he's also traveled the world for 10 years while serving in the US military and has been to 95 countries since then, on a mission to become one of the first African Americans to visit every country in the world. In part 1 of this interview, we talked a lot more about what it's like to live as a local in Thailand, and in this conversation, we're talking about Erick's favorite places on every continent. What are the best countries for adventure, for relaxation, for food, for meeting people? We're also talking about how to cope with loneliness, find your community abroad, and then the dark side of travel, from the tragic death of Anthony Bourdain to the over-tourism and gentrification of tourist hotspots, and also what it's like solo traveling abroad as a Black man. I hope you enjoy part 2 of my conversation with Erick Prince, the Minority Nomad. I mean, I know that both you and I have struggled with, I don't want to say struggled, but we've been vocal about the struggles of feeling lonely on the road, which is a bit of a facade because you can feel lonely in any phase of your life, in any location in your life. It's just that I think living abroad and traveling gives you space to sit with that loneliness and look at it more objectively and curiously. And having these interactions with them on the road for me has filled that void in a way. Or it's not even really a void, it's like we don't have the traditional friendships that people have that stay in their hometown.
I have a specific theory about this. I believe that most friendships are friendships by proximity. I was like, man, if I didn't grow up next door to you, I would hate you as a person. Like, I wouldn't even be friends with you. And when you're on the road, I believe everything's intensified. So if I've known somebody for one day, I've known them for 3 days. If I've known them for 3 days, I've known them for 3 weeks. If I've known them for 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. So 3 months is 3 years in real lifetime. Because if you travel with somebody, you're seeing them 24/7. You're seeing them at their best and their worst, their happiest and their saddest. And when you're at home, you rarely see that. How often do you see somebody 24 hours a day, even when you're married, even when you live with that person? If you have children, they go to school. If you have a spouse, they go to work. If you have good friends, you see them maybe at happy hour. You do not spend that much time with people. And when you're traveling, when you're abroad, you spend significantly more time with these individuals. You have an opportunity to get to know them. Not only do you get to know them, you get to know the real them because they don't have those same shackles on.
Yeah.
So as a Black man, I posted on Instagram that I was going to a drag show, which I do once or twice a week. Some of my closest friends are drag performers. And I always get asked if I'm gay. And at this point, it gets on my nerves. Like, so I let people assume whatever they want to assume. And it's frustrating because if you are a African-American man that has friends who are gay, you're assumed to just be gay. And within our community, that's a problem still to this day. No matter how progressive people pretend things are back home, in the Black community, homosexuality is still a problem. It just is. And a lot of Black men in particular that's one of the worst things that you could say about us. We're raised that way. And when you go abroad, you don't have that shackle on you. You can interact with anybody that you want. I can go be a ballerina tomorrow. Nobody's going to look at me different. I don't have to worry about that. If I don't want to go to church, nobody's going to look at me crazy. It's like, hey, I want to go meditate on a rooftop in India, but you're Catholic. So, so it's the people that you meet abroad and you interact with and you spend time with, you're actually getting to know them. The people back home, and this isn't everybody, but there's this field up, this invisible fence, like, oh, is she going to judge me? She's going to look at me different? Will I lose my friend? Like, I'm polyamorous. I don't believe in monogamous relationships. Back home, if I told that to some women, she'd be like, oh, well, you're just a player. You just want to sleep with all women. You want, like, well, no, that's not what that means, but all right. But abroad, you can find that community. And even though it does exist back home, but you don't have that fear of being that authentic version of who you are, which is why so many people have these amazing experiences overseas, because they're not afraid to try things and to see different things and interact with different people and to say whatever they want to say.
Yeah, you don't have that filter or self-consciousness about what other people are going to think, because no one around knows you. So when you meet people, you're meeting them for the first time, and you're meeting each other where you are in that moment, whether it's sitting in a circle on the beach, and then nobody back home knows where you are or what you're doing either. And so it actually can take, I think it took me a few years before I really, really felt like I dropped all of that and just experienced that innate freedom. There's no pretense. You can just say to a stranger, hey, what's up? And other people are in that same vibe because they're also probably outside of their hometown or whatever. So one time I was in Hong Kong by myself. I was just, I don't know, I was traveling around Southeast Asia by myself. I was in like Hong Kong, Macau. I was just exploring along the harbor front. This girl asked me, I think either one of us asked each other to take a picture, because, you know, with the ships in the harbor in Hong Kong, it's like those pirate looking ships, and it's just so stunning with the skyline there. And we just start talking. Like, we each take a picture of each other, and then we just stand on the rail in the harbor and just start talking. We stood there for probably 2 hours. And then she's like, what are you doing right now? I'm like, nothing. Like, just walking around, exploring the city. And we just went on this full day of exploration. So we ended up in the night markets in Kowloon, and we're still friends on social media. And it's kind of hard to explain these tangents that you go on in life, but that for me makes it worth the trade-off of maybe not having as many of those traditional friendships, but having way more intense interactions with people, where by the end of that 12 hours, I felt like we were childhood friends who just hadn't seen each other in 10 years. And then we ran into each other on the sidewalk.
And it lasts forever. I cannot tell you how many people that I've had those experiences with. I'll go to their hometown. I'll be passing through. They say, hey, just come over, stay here a couple of days. And we pick up right where we left off. And it's like you become that respite from the norm. Best time of their life, you know? It's like, Eric, I can't believe you're still doing this. I'm like, yeah, me either, man. Like, so many times, you know, my friends are married and with kids and, you know, settling down with company. And it's like, those are the people who they never question why you're still doing what you're doing, because they understand why.
Yeah.
Because they did it with you. They were there. Like they know they know all the stories, you know, like, hey, you remember that time? Oh yeah, of course I remember. Like it's those are the people who make us who we truly are. Like they see, this is one issue that I've had with a lot of societies, is they constantly tell children who they are. And these people that we meet abroad, they don't tell us who we are. They learn who we are. They help us find who we are. You know, our school systems tell us who we are. Our religious structures tell us who we are. Like our parents and our friends and our family, they tell us who we are. But those people you meet abroad, no, they let you become who you are. They let you decide. It's a very big, and that's why those relationships are so powerful.
Exactly, without any judgment.
Pick up. They give you aspects of personality, like just worldview that you never had before. For me, that's probably the biggest compliment that I could get, is when somebody says, oh, you made me think. You made me think differently. Because I go through my entire day trying to find ways to think differently. I was like, all right, somebody destroy my worldview right now, please. I enjoy being wrong. It's exciting to me because that means I'm learning and I'm growing. Those are where you find the lessons. That's why I love Asia so much, is because it's a region and continent that's built on mastery. People still respect mastery of a thing, where he's been making sushi for 50 years. Like, this one sushi for 50 years. Like, she's been making this same noodle for 40 years. Like, they master things here. And there's so many people to just learn from here, so many people to interact with, and the hospitality, it inspires me to get. Like, if you look at my website, or you've never seen me sell anything. I've never sold a course or mentorship, because I think it should be free. I think this stuff should be free. And it's only a matter of survival that I do what I do for a living, because otherwise I do it for free. Like, I just love it.
Well, I think that's what we're moving towards, is a society where those who choose can live through their art. And you've proven that with learning photography, putting it on hold while you were in the military, and then coming back to it, and then living for the past decade from that photography and turning it into all these different types of ways to make a living. I think that's why, one of the reasons why you see that in other people. For example, this photo that you had on Instagram of a man who had been making chai tea for 40 years. To think about all of the nuances of making that cup of tea, it's like we get frustrated if we can't learn something in one day or 1 hour. And this man's been making this tea for 40 years. And I had the same experience in Japan, where I went to a green tea ceremony, and I talked about this in a video I made about what it was like living in Japan as a foreigner. And I had that epiphany of, I asked the girl, oh, when did you learn how to do this? And she said, I'm still learning. What are you talking about? Like, not, she didn't say it that way because she's Japanese. Yeah. So she was very respectful. She was just very demure and just said, oh no, I do not know how to make tea. Like, this will be a lifelong thing, and I'll still never learn. But that apprenticeship mentality, this relationship has been lost in the institutional education system. And then has this become a portal for you to interact with the locals? Because people always talk about getting involved with the local community, but it's almost like lip service in a way, because I don't think anyone really knows what that means and like what that looks like. So can you give us some insight into your friend circle and what is the mix of foreigners, expats versus immigrants versus locals, and how can other people integrate naturally and give back to the communities that they're living in abroad without just living like a tourist everywhere?
Right. So I think for me, I'm just naturally an outgoing person. I'm an introverted extrovert.
Me too.
I tend to like to be by myself, but I love people as well. You put me in a situation, I'll be blessed to thrive. It's just how I'm built. And I have almost no fear, because I'm a bigger guy. I can take care of myself. People tend not to mess with me in that way. And people tend to receive me kindly because I'm a person, I'm Black. So one of the good things about how American media representation has going around the world is everybody knows who Barack Obama is, and LeBron James and Will Smith and Michael Jackson. So you show up with these things. Oh, Tiger Woods. So I love Tiger Woods. Right? Everybody tells me I look like Steve Harvey.
Just because you're Black, they're like, oh, you look like Obama.
I look like this Black guy. I've been given Steve Harvey, Will Smith, Chris Tucker. Everybody says I talk like Chris Tucker. I get Chris Tucker a lot. Like, you sound like the funny guy with Jackie Chan in Asia.
I can kind of hear
everybody
that.
thinks I'm Chris Tucker. So it's being a Black man in Asia is the greatest gateway into every culture here, because there's so few of us, and they've consumed so much of our media over the years that when we show up, there's this curiosity. And when you show that you're open, I always tell everybody, the one language I speak is smile at all times. It's
universal.
Universal language. I love smiling. People are like, why do you smile so much? Like, why don't you smile? That's a better question. Because are you always happy? Yes, I am always happy. I woke up today. I am happy 100%, because that's just how I'm built. And this has given me an opportunity to really dig into these places. I would say in Asia, I was based as a soldier. I was in Korea and Japan. As a civilian, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. Now, every place I've lived, I've built, but I've gone out of my way to ensure that my friend circle is mainly locals. And it's because they know all the cool shit that I want to know. I'm with Thai people, be they Thai American or Thais who never left Thailand. I want to immerse myself in the culture so I can truly understand the place that I live, that I call home now. I date Thai women. My close personal friends are Thai. My lawyer is Thai. My doctor, she's half Thai. I learned Thai. I have survival Thai. I intentionally mispronounce words so I can be corrected. So it breaks that ice. So people know, oh, he lives here and he's making an effort to learn our language, understand our culture. Because there's an issue here that within the digital nomad community that we don't speak about is there's a level of arrogance and entitlement and privilege within our community that's absolutely disgusting. And it makes me sick anywhere I see it. And Thailand's a great place for that. And Indonesia. I left Indonesia because it was so disgusting there, the level of arrogance and privilege that the community had. So I do not want to be associated with that in any way. And I go out of my way to ensure that if you see Eric, it's likely you're going to see me by myself or with a local. And if anybody is wondering how do they authentically immerse themselves in a community, let the community tell you what it needs. Let the community tell you what they need from you or what they want you to do. And most of them are going to say, just be kind, be respectful, learn. We don't need you to build a clinic. We don't need you to help us and save us. We don't need you to give us extra money on the bill, but we need you to be respectful of us, our culture, our history, and spend the time to learn and educate yourself. Be humble. One of my lessons to anybody who emails me or reaches out to me and asks me about living abroad is always remember that you are a guest in someone else's home. Act accordingly. Behave the way you would expect a guest who's in your home. So you don't come in my house, putting your feet up on my furniture, making a mess. You don't come in my home, going in the refrigerator like it's yours. You don't show up to a party empty-handed. You don't come in my house telling me my politics are wrong and the way I choose to live my life is wrong. You can leave if you're going to do those things. So if you truly want to integrate in a community, if you really want to be considered a local-ish, you have to put in the effort. And I think that's where a lot of people come up short.
I think you also have to put in the time because it's really difficult to integrate and get to know people if you're only there temporarily, and especially if you're working. So if you take away the hours that you're working during the day, but then once you start to get into the deeper layers of the place, you've been to the temples, you've seen the sites, that comes with time spent there. One of the concerns that I have, so on the one hand, I think both of us agree that the more people who are traveling and living abroad, the better, because this unspeakable thing happens where your eyes just get open to who you are, what the world is like. Just things start to open up when you get to travel and live abroad beyond going on a 1-week cruise somewhere or, going to spring break. But something that I've become concerned with, depending on how much this lifestyle blows up and accelerates, is this effect that I've seen in Tulum where everyone picks a place based on what's trending on Instagram. And then it's like if everybody from New York and Miami and LA and California and Kansas City are all flying down to Tulum, it just becomes like a little expat bubble where the expat population far outnumbers the local population. And you can't walk a block down the street without running into 500 people from the US. And so that kind of starts to, first of all, it's not sustainable and things just go too fast. But then also it really takes away from the organic experience of travel because you've just basically created an expat compound in a new destination. And so this is why I really encourage people to go where you feel called to go. It's almost like the less Americans there, the better, which is kind of hypocritical because we are U.S. citizens. But
I don't think we're hypocritical in that. You and I have traveled enough. We've seen it before. We've seen it in Chiang Mai. We saw it in Lisbon.
Yeah.
We've seen this around the world before. Right now it's Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia, what's happening in Georgia?
Portugal is definitely going to be a
Yeah,
problem.
Portugal's, oh God, it's high up there.
Yeah.
And these things come. There's
Bali.
nothing. Oh God, Bali. I'm shocked how that's maintained for over a
Yeah.
decade. That place has been saturated like that. But you get one of two things that will happen. The locals will clamp down on it, or people will just get bored. And those people get exposed eventually. They don't last. They just don't last. These people, they'll go home because they're not built for that life abroad. Anybody who decides to live basically in a commune, let them stay in that commune. Keep everything else open for us. I've always had this dislike for Chiang Mai's digital nomad community for that exact reason that you brought up. But Thailand's a very big country. There's plenty of other places for me to go.
That's what I thought when I got there. I was like, why is everyone here? Like,
I was
there's
like, oh, yeah,
lots of other
yes,
comparable places.
yeah. Pai, which is super close, Chiang Rai.
Yeah.
Bhutan's full of amazing places, but let them stay there. I was like, okay, I know where you guys are at. Perfect.
Yeah, and in a big city like Bangkok, you can find your tribe there. And some of
Right?
the other places that you've kept going back to. I know after you get to 95, 100 countries, there's a lot of places that you've been to multiple times. Some of the places that you liked were Turkey, like Istanbul, where you went
Yeah.
early on, Romania, Lviv, Chile, Honduras. What are some of the things that you liked about those places? Oh, India. Why have you
India,
gone
right.
there so many times and continue to promote it to other people?
So I think a place like Romania, I love Romania because Romania was one of the biggest culture shocks for me. Did not expect people to be so welcoming. Like today, I'm a Romanian godfather now. Like
Oh,
I have a Romanian godson. Like my best friend is Romanian. And we met on a rooftop in Piatra Neamț in north of Romania taking pictures. It's one of those life things that just happens. Um, Going to Transylvania and just learning about what Transylvania really is and who the people really are, as opposed to what you've been presented. It became such a special place in my heart. Like the love of my life was Romanian. So it was just one of those places that just has a special personal connection to me. A place like Turkey, it's one of the most underrated places in the world. It does not receive a fraction of the praise it should because of Western media representation of terrorism, of abuse, of it being scary in some places. I'm like, man, you guys are missing out. Places like India. It's a place you don't vacation. I tell everybody, you never vacation in India. You experience India. There's no better place on the planet I have been where you experience more about the human condition than you do in India.
that's
You
what I
understand
hear.
everything about the greatness, about the disgustingness, about the greed, about the generosity, about the beauty, about the pain of humanity. It's all in India. And it'll take you about 2 days to
Yeah.
see all of those things, to experience all of those things.
What would you
And
recommend for people going there the first time? Which corner? North, east,
to
south,
India,
west? Yeah.
ooh, you have to do the typical places, right? You got to see Taj. You got to go to Delhi. You got, and I'm not saying that just to diss them like Mumbai, like to downplay them because they're all fantastic. But I was shocked by how amazing Southern India is. Just it has to. They call it God's country. It is. Southern India is as good as people say it is. It was. I was avoiding it, the Kerala region. I was avoiding it because so many blogger colleagues and friends of mine had been going. And
Yeah.
then I went to the backwaters on a houseboat. It was one of the best trips I've had in my entire life. Easily top 10. Easily top 10 travel experiences was visiting Southern India. Fantastic trip. And actually, I can hit you with one for each continent.
Yeah, let's do this.
I
Hit
would
me with your
say
top.
let's go with continent. Let's say a country that you're going to have a lot of fun in and a country you're going to learn a lot in. Let's go with North America, the U.S. And honestly, people are weird when I say this. The U.S. is one of easily the top 5 travel destinations in the world. It's an amazing place. There's not a place in the world with more of a diverse list of offerings than the United States of America.
Yeah,
So
you
the
got
United States,
everything, every climate, every
yep,
scenic
yep.
backdrop.
Exactly. Food, every cuisine, every city type is there. The place that you're going to learn the most, Mexico. Mexico is a fantastic place. And please stay out of Oaxaca, everybody. Please. Just dig a little deeper. Dig a little. Mexico City, amazing place.
I love Mexico
Chihuahua, I
City.
love Chihuahua. Let's see. South America, I'm going to hit you with Chile. No, 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 no. Argentina is going to be the, oh God, no, no, that's tough. No, 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 no. Brazil is going to be the place you're going to have the most fun and you're going to learn the most in Chile. North to south, Chile is probably the most naturally beautiful place in the world. Atacama up north, Patagonia in the south. It is stunning. Tres Lagos, Pichalemo, Chiloé. Oh God, it's amazing. Chile is amazing. So go to Chile to learn, go to Brazil to party. African continent, I would say South Africa, as like you're gonna have a blast in South Africa, but go to Morocco. Like you're gonna learn so much in Morocco and Egypt. In Europe, let's go with fun, Germany. And a lot of people are gonna be tripping for nightlife. Germany for nightlife.
Oh yeah.
German nightlife is something else. I don't think people give German nightlife credit.
I remember going from Oktoberfest to the after party. I was like, just the fact that there is an after party from Oktoberfest is another level that we
like the after party starts at 1.
And that's like, in Munich. Then there's Berlin.
Yeah, amazing. Nightlife in Germany, amazing. But I would have to say party goes to Spain. Party goes to Spain.
Spain, you can end at like 9 or 10 in the morning.
Yeah, barely. But also Spain for learning. I think Spain, a lot of people do love Spain. A lot of people go to Spain. It's very popular. But I will put Spain up there as far as educational and entertainment. Like as a place you're going to have a blast. I mean, you go, especially when you get to the south of Spain, when you get to southern Spain, that was, Moorish territory. Oh, Sevilla and like Cordoba, that whole region. Oh, absolutely fantastic down there. In Asia, I would say Southeast. I'm going to lump all of Southeast Asia together as far as for like education. And I'm going to say for fun, probably still Southeast Asia, but Japan. I think Japan is fun.
One of my favorites.
I think everybody can have a blast. If you enjoy skiing, if you enjoy diving, if you enjoy the best food in the world, it was something like, I think Tokyo has the most Michelin. They do. Tokyo has the most Michelin stars. And I think they could lose half of them and still be the #1 Michelin star city in the world. Like, it's amazing. And then you have all of Southeast Asia when it comes to education. Like, you learn so much in Southeast Asia that people really didn't know, especially as American. When you go to places like Laos and Cambodia and Vietnam, and you learn what happened during the war, and then you learn the vestiges of colonialism, of the French, of Portuguese coming through here, of the British. Like, there's so much stuff people don't know about the opium wars in Malaysia, how Malaysia became what it is, what race relations are like in Malaysia with like the ethnic Malay population and the Chinese and Indian populations there. It's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's all the continents, right?
I imagine in Vietnam, you kind of like, I haven't been there, but it's probably like stepping in behind the scenes of the Ken Burns documentary on the Vietnam War. I mean, you just see, I remember in Budapest, one of my favorite museums I've ever been to in the world is the History Museum on the Buddha side.
Amazing.
I think I spent 5 hours there.
All the time. But did you go to all 3 buildings, A, B, and C?
I think I did because I was there for the whole day.
You probably did. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Just learning about kind of how that area is almost part of the seat of the origins of humanity. That part of Europe that's kind of between Europe, Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, it just has so much going on. Oh yeah, and so in the Middle East, you've been to the stands. What are some places that you could recommend in that area? Because I feel like I've been victim to the culture war on the Middle East, where being a solo female traveler, I was like probably afraid to go there alone. When meanwhile, now that I know people from there, they're like, oh yeah, you could go. There's so many places you can go by yourself.
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan. Why there?
Uzbekistan. Also Turkmenistan. Uzbekistan gets it. I think it's because interacting with people who don't speak my language, who don't look anything like me, and they were so kind and welcoming. And I hate bringing up race, but when you come from a place where your home, you're abused. We're really abused. Like my whole life, I got beat up by police officers. I was slammed against cars. I was handcuffed when my wrist bled. I was abused by white police officers growing up in the inner city of Cleveland. And then you go overseas and you interact with people who look like that, who don't treat you like shit. They treat you like a guest and a member of the family at times. And it's such a shock, to have those preconceived notions of abuse or the fear of being abused, like pushed out of your mind, because you finally interact with people that treat you like a human before they treat you like a skin color.
That's trauma that you suffered there. Is that very cathartic? Do you feel like you're resolving some of that? It's like a PTSD that is embedded in your brain, these experiences.
It's more of a realization that how the U.S. is. Like, it's like, this is a us problem. This isn't a world problem. This is a we problem, And I always say, like, racism exists everywhere in the world, right? But there's racism with a big R and there's racism with a little r. Nobody abroad is trying to shoot me in the back. They're not attacking me. They're not, trying to, like, there's a difference. But would they let me marry their daughter? Probably not. They probably prefer not. So, I mean, I'm like, there's levels to this shit, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that travel reignites your faith in humanity when your only experience with a lot of humanity has been negative. When you grew up in an environment of poverty, of abuse, when you grew up around those people of authority abusing their authority and manipulating and controlling you in the way that they see fit. Yeah, I think to the original question, you definitely have to hit the stands up. I was going back this year. I was supposed to go, I wouldn't even call it a stand. I was going to Georgia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. And then COVID hit. But as soon as everything opens back up, that's actually going to be the first region I go back to outside of Asia.
Okay. Oh, God. My list is getting so long from talking to you. I'm like, I got to go. There's so many places. Well, Azerbaijan looks cool. I've been following some of the Formula One stuff. My dad actually has raced cars my whole life. We used to have Indy cars in our garage when I was 5 years old, but I just was watching that Netflix documentary series on Formula One. So I was looking into Azerbaijan. I mean, there's so many places over there that I haven't been to. So I'm going to let you go because I know it's been a long time, but do you ever get tired of traveling? I guess this is a bad question since we haven't been traveling abroad lately, but you said something in another interview where they were talking about Anthony Bourdain that really resonated with me, because you said that you could see, and other photojournalism friends that you had, you could see the tiredness in his face, in his eyes, because that really was disturbing. His suicide was very disturbing for many reasons. It was so sad. But one of the things that really sunk in with me was the place that he chose, which was Strasbourg in France. The mindset that he would have had to be in, and like one of the most beautiful places, in my opinion, in the world, while he was filming his show. So yeah, like, what is that you saw in his face, that kind of like jadedness, and how can people avoid that or notice the warning signs when you start to lose the magic of traveling and start to really lose your sense of self?
This is a fantastic question, because it's been something I've been discussing lately, and it's been at the forefront of everything that I'm doing right now. If you look at my social media, if you look at my blog, I don't think I've written a blog since last summer. My last Instagram post was like a month ago, but I post on IG stories all the time. I am done creating content. I am finished creating travel content. What I will do is I will continue to document my journeys and my adventures as I see fit, as I enjoy. There's a difference between traveling and content creation. We started as travelers. What made Anthony Bourdain so special was he was a traveler. I tell people say, what do you do for a living? Oh, I travel and I talk. That's what I do. My job is to travel and talk. That's what I do. But then here comes the editors. We say, hey, you can't say anymore, Eric. And it was like, hey, we think that's a little too off the beaten path. How about you stick to these cities? And no, we're gonna send a videographer with you to tell you what to say. Hey, here's a script. And it all becomes like, wait, what? Why am I here? Why am I even here? Why is it me here in front of the camera? You can plug in anybody. And it starts to take away the individualness, the you-ness of this. And what we see, and a lot of us, and I remember, I would say a few years ago, around 2016, 2017, you saw a lot of YouTubers started to talk about burnout. It's because you stop doing it because you love it. You start doing it because you're being paid to do it. And you start to understand the algorithm. You got to feed the algorithm. And you start to feed that what it wants. Oh my God, here's the top 5 things to do in Bangkok. Woo! Because you know that that's going to get hits. But you don't talk about this little itty bitty Kway Teow stand that's down the street from my house that nobody will ever be able to find because I'm not going to tell you where it is. But when I create things like that, I'm excited again. I love it. Like tomorrow, I'm going to go, there's a place that just opened up that sells Chicago hot dogs. That's next to a place called 100-bit bar that has these old school video games. And I'm going to go eat a hot dog. I'm going to drink a malt shake. I'm going to play some video games. And that's going to be my day. Might go see a movie. Awesome. Maybe not. Right? But I'm not worried about my next blog post. I'm not worried about my next script. I'm just happy. I can't tell you exactly what was going through Anthony Bourdain's mind. Only he knows that at the moment that he made that choice. But what I saw in his content, when I saw in the way he spoke, he lost faith in what he was doing. He lost that spark, that love of it. It became a job. It was no longer enjoyable. It was a job again. And a lot of us have done that because something that people don't talk about in our career field, we're journalists. And we see not only the best of humanity, we see the worst as well. We see the abuses. We see the marginalization. We see the starvation. We see the hunger. We see what our consumerism actually does to people. See, these things are hidden in the US and in Canada and in the UK and in Germany. They're hidden. But here in Southeast Asia, they're not. In places that Anthony Bourdain went, they weren't. Parts of Africa, parts of Southeast Asia, Central and South America. We see these things. So once you get out of that Eurocentric bubble, the world becomes a very harsh place. And when you're constantly in that environment, and you're constantly asked to make this cheery bullshit content that's not real, that's not the truth, it wears you down because it destroys your integrity. Mm-hmm. It weighs on your heart and your soul. And you're like, one of the best things to happen in my career is COVID. Because for the last 2 years, I'd say 2018, 2019, I hated my job. But I was making so much damn money. So much money in 2018. 2018, 2019, I made more money than I had any point in my life. And I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking it. But for me, it's not what I should have been doing. It wasn't my voice. It wasn't who I set out to be when I started all of this. Yeah. And I think Anthony Bourdain went through the same exact thing. And I think a lot of us go through the same thing. Is you get everything. You get everything. We travel the world, we get paid for it. Yeah, like and you know, to a certain extent you're idolized. When people hear what I do for a living, I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. That's the greatest job ever. And it's like, if you only knew. Like Romania, the treatment of the Roma community, aka the Gypsy community, it's one of the most disgusting and deplorable things I've ever seen in my entire life. And nobody talks about it.
In Bulgaria too, with the Gypsy population, it's like the Rohingya thing.
Exact same thing. It was like if you're running your mouth about Rohingya and you're not saying anything about the Roma community, or you're not saying anything about the abuse of Asian peoples or the abuse of African Americans and LGBTQ people, shut up. Just shut up, because you're a hypocrite and you're doing it for social clout. And for us, we see these things around the world. And I can tell you this. You go to the most beautiful places, and they are built on the back of these local communities who don't have a voice. Mm-hmm. They are built of abuse, of frustration, of struggle, of economic privilege. It's heartbreaking seeing entire Thai communities destroyed, praying that Western tourists come back so they can survive, when these are some of the most hardworking and talented people I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Are praying for some asshole to show up and spend money just to show off. And
when
it's
they
like
could have
something else.
A sustainable, a self-sustaining economy.
Exactly.
That's what COVID has shown, that the tourism industry was pretty up.
Yeah. And we knew this. Those of us who work in it, we knew this. We've been saying this for 5-6 years. This is not sustainable. This is not sustainable. Please stop doing this. Don't go here, people. Stop going there. Locals, stop it. But you can't hear it. The ching, 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 ching.
Yeah.
Ching, ching, ching.
Money talks.
So it's like, and when you see that, and again, Anthony Bourdain saw that. A lot of us see that because it's our jobs to see it. And then we're asked to smile for the cameras. And it's like, oh, this place is fantastic, except for all the racism. But don't look at all those poor people living in shacks. I don't know, And for me, what I've committed myself to is I'm still going to make my same content. I'm a positive cat. I enjoy life. I enjoy the world. I enjoy travel. But I'll make it my way, on my terms, and what I feel comfortable with. And I'm going to get back to just going and discovering again. I think when you get into these modes, and for anybody who's listening to this, who's curious about becoming a content creator for a living, or a blogger, vlogger, YouTuber, photographer, whatever, what makes you special is those early couple years where you're stumbling through. You don't know what the hell the algorithm is going to do. You don't know what content's going to work. You don't know what voice, and you're just figuring it out. When you're figuring things out and you're creating your voice, that's who you actually are. So keep an eye on that person, cultivate that person, and by all means protect that person, because that person you are for the first couple of years of your career, that's who you want to be when you grow up. Because when you grow up, oh my goodness, the pressures of real life catch up to you very quickly, and you're going to be searching for that person all over again.
Yeah, and that's how you can almost lose yourself in the travels. It's a fine line, and I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I look back at what I made 3 years ago when I had no idea what I was doing, and I ask, would I have made that video today, or would I have interviewed that person? But you have to stay true to yourself, otherwise you're just not going to like yourself. And one of the things too is that there's so many people that want to make that passive income. They want to retire early. But I just watched a documentary on Audrey Hepburn, and there's like this parallel here with this desire for people to just live off passive income and travel around the world. It's not about being famous or being rich or whatever. It's about like what you're doing with your life. So like, here is somebody who was an icon of her generation. She was the epitome of being a Hollywood star, and she didn't have to work another day in her life. I mean, she decided to quit working to raise her kids, and then she could have retired. She was living in Switzerland in this beautiful house. She could have just stayed there in her bubble, gardening and like picking apples from the trees and stuff, and journaling and cooking. She ended up working, I think it was for UNICEF, and just working like at 18-hour days, going around in different countries in Africa. I think this was in the 1990s. I think I was too young to really know what was going on over there then. And she actually grew up in Amsterdam during World War II, and she almost starved to death. So she had that context of what it was like. And she worked every day until she died of cancer for these kids. And she was just beside herself by seeing all of the suffering that was going on and how the developed world and the Western world just didn't care. But that conviction of, even though she had all the money in the world and all the privilege from her career and all of the opportunities, that's how she decided to spend her life, like doing something that was so important to her. It doesn't matter if she couldn't save every kid that she saw. You know, kids literally died in her arms. Like, I can't even imagine what she went through. So it doesn't matter if none of us save the world or fix all of the problems that we see. I think it's just that we're trying, and that we're doing that small part, whatever that looks like, and seeing how that evolves over the course of your life. That's where you're going to get that fulfillment. You know, doing that thing that you're probably not going to get recognition for and that you might not even fix, but just like bringing awareness to an issue, or just not selling out, I guess. Like, I started making videos, like, I'm a pretty positive person like you, and I started making videos about like why people leave Costa Rica. Like, what is the dark side of living there? What do I dislike about the expat lifestyle? What are like the shortcomings? What are the challenges? What are the struggles? And those are the things where I just sit down with no script and I talk about it. And those are the videos that get 500,000 or whatever views.
The interesting thing, if we had this conversation outside of these microphones, it will be exactly the same. Probably a lot more cursing. Yeah. And it's the biggest thing for me is just what makes you special is who you are. Stop trying to be like everybody else. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard. Like, I remember when the whole Instagram thing was coming out, I was like, oh, you got to make your entire feed look the same. And I remember this came up on my Instagram. It's like, oh, why don't you have more followers? Like, because I don't chase that shit. I don't want 1 million followers on Instagram. I mean, it'd be cool if I had it, but it's like, I'm not willing to play that game because it's not real. See, photography is my expression of my emotions. It's my outlet, how I see the world, how I understand how life is. And that's not always fuchsia or orange, teal or whatever other random color you want to create. I try to capture what's in front of me, and I try to narrate that or put that image into context of my emotional state at that point. And when you come from a position where, hey, this is me on a page, or me in a photo, or me on video, and you can take it or you can leave it, I think that comes across a lot better to your audience, because you look at these videos on YouTube and we're like, oh, one of these again. And they're like, oh man, I don't agree with shit this person has to say, but I like the way they're saying it. You know, and that's what resonates with me. That's what inspires me to type a comment or send a DM, or I'm like, yo, fire video. I disagree with everything you said, but I absolutely love the video because I can feel that vibe, that energy, passion, you know, and I think it comes from passion. Passion is a drug. And people, I'm like, man, you guys chase passion, whatever that is. If you're chasing passion, you're going to have fun every single day. If you keep chasing that passion, whatever it is, it's just going to be a blast. And I'm like, if you don't have a passion, chase finding the passion. Just do a whole bunch of cool shit. Like, especially if you're young, I'm like, hey, this sounds cool. Let me go try that. Oh, that didn't turn out too well at all. But hey, let's go try the next thing. You know, I think we get to the point where we're taught to be afraid to fail, where it's embarrassing. I'm like, yo, man, I fail every single day. Every day of my life, I try to fail, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you change. That's how you discover stuff. Like, remember when you were a kid, it's like you just came out of the womb walking? No, you just fell a lot. Yeah. And like, you sit there and you watch a kid just continuously try to walk, and they fall. And then they roll over and they get back up and they try it again over and over and over until they get it. And it's like, when do we lose that?
And those falls get celebrated at the beginning.
Yep.
And then at some point, it does get lost.
Yeah, you lose that. And you'll run, you see babies just going after a dog and chewing on his ear. Like, it's just a fearlessness that we have as children that life beats out of us. And it's not just really life, it's our societal structure. It beats that adventure out of us. It's like, yeah, we can't have we need drones. You got to have drones for the machine to work. You got to have those robots. So we can't have all these free thinking hippies running around. We need somebody in these factories.
I was just at my parents' house. My brother flew in from California, and he actually had like a near-death experience snowboarding recently. So that was the first time I saw him since his accident, which is actually another thing. Learning how to ski or snowboard, you will spend the first few days on your ass, and it hurts, but it's worth it.
Chile. Yep.
Yeah, but you can't learn how to ski without falling a lot at the beginning. But once you get through that, you're like having a blast. So anyway, he comes over. He brings my 6-year-old niece, so his daughter, and I had to catch myself. We did a lot of arts and crafts projects. And I noticed, this must be hard to be a parent. I noticed how many times I said things like, oh, perfect, or that's so good, or there was like this good and bad and good job and perfect and beautiful, and it was like, can I find some other words? I'm like a perfectionist in recovery. I'm like, I don't want to use that word to tell her that this painting looks good, or
the validation.
Validation. It was freaking me out. I was really had to think about that a lot. But yeah, seeing her chasing the dog, jumping on top of the dog, like jumping off the couch. It's like kids are really fearless, and it's the adults that are like, oh God, like trying to manage the situation.
I love watching kids. Like
especially
like,
in Thailand and places where kids are like,
guys, crazy.
What is that Disney movie where Mowgli? I feel like kids are like in their natural element.
Yo, these kids are running around like chasing Komodo dragons. Like, it's crazy.
Climbing up elephants.
Yeah, it really is how these kids grow up. One of my favorite photos is a picture of kids at Angkor Wat. Oh. And I ended up talking to their mom, who was selling coconuts. One thing I never do is I will never post a photo of a child without the parents' permission. Every photo of a child you ever seen on my feed, I got the parents' permission. So I was talking to the mother, and she was like, oh yeah, we live over there. We live not too far from here. And like, they grew up here. She's like, she also grew up. She spoke perfect English because, Angkor Wat is a tourist place. Yeah. But she's like, we grew up here. Our whole family, generations, we grew up here. And can you imagine, as a kid, your playground is Angkor Wat?
That's wild.
That's like, there are kids whose playground is the Egyptian pyramids or Machu Picchu. Like, these are like the Grand Canyons or something in the U.S. Like, these are like, it's so, oh my God, I love having this conversation because it reminds me of everything that I love again about exploring the world and traveling and interacting. It's like, these are the things that we should be discussing as humans now. We spend so much time on the negative aspects of life.
We should do a collab at some point. I mean, there's no one that can fill Anthony Bourdain's shoes, but yeah, I love that we're living in this time where we get to make whatever content we want. Mm-hmm. And like, I really, don't care what anyone else thinks. Like, there's no one owns you. Nope. You just put it out there.
There's so many of us.
I had, what's his name? Mike, I think. Fearless and Far. Have you seen that channel?
I talked to Mike yesterday.
Yeah, okay. So tell him I said hi. I love his attitude too, because he's like, that's like his natural self, right? Like,
we argue all the time. He's delusional sometimes. I love him though.
Well, he's like kind of a sellout because he's BBC and stuff, but I feel like he's still, that's still like his natural. That seems to be his natural personality.
No, he really, if you like him, you will love his girlfriend. Ava
I watched her videos too.
He is, like, I tell them all the time, I like her better than him. She is, like, the balance, not to go off on tangent on those two. What I love about her so much is she always can listen to both sides. She does not push her own narrative. She's like, this is the story. Have at it, everybody. That's what I absolutely love
Yeah.
about her.
She makes
And
some
she
really
like,
different content too.
yeah, this is our world. Like this is
Yeah.
our world. And I appreciate that she presents that. I know like Mike's and other people like him, Tim Ferriss, everybody. Like this is my perspective on how life should be lived. And here, her perspective is this is the world. Here, have at it.
Yeah,
Check it
make
out.
your decision.
Make your decision based on what you see here. Like
Yeah.
just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
it's
why
such a good thing.
I love talk. I gotta talk. I should have Ava on the podcast. I
You
haven't
really
met her
should have
yet,
her on.
but that's
Yeah.
why I love talking to people like you that have like really been around, because you get through, like, it takes years to get through like the facade of the postcard travel type of things and really do the travel. Now I might not be like Mike climbing up trees, and he's like eating bugs, doing things like that. That's like his MO, and to each their own. But I think it's cool that we all get to just be ourselves right now in the world, and I hope that everybody listening feels a little bit more empowered today to just like be weird, be your weird natural self, and like just see what happens out of that. And we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I really hope that that's what people take away from this COVID thing is how precious time is. We lost an entire year. Like 2020 is an absolute blank for me. I learned a lot in that year, but from the things that I love in life, 2020 is gone. And it's like,
it's a
hopefully
weird
people
feeling.
realize, I'm like, okay, if you lost your job, if everything that you had fell apart, if relationships were destroyed, might be time for a new start. And this might be the time to take that leap that you've been thinking about for a long time.
If the worst case scenario happened and you survived it and you're listening to this right now, then what do you have to lose? Like,
exactly.
Even if 2021 becomes another black hole of a year, it's like just start over. Like, this sense of self and wanderlust and adventure is like embedded in our DNA, and we now have the autonomy and the technology to act on that. So yeah, just take advantage of this time that we have, and let's create something new, everybody. We got a big global reset. We got the great pause, and so now let's come out of that and see what happens. Well, I don't know how long we've been talking for, but it's totally worth it, Eric. And where can people follow you, and also your foundation?
So we put the nonprofit on hold, but you can find me at pretty much Minority Nomad everywhere: Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
Eric, have a fun night. What's left of it over there? Do you have any closing words for the fam?
Well, I appreciate it. As usual, I say leave the world better than you found it. I hope everybody finds their passion and their drive and just go after that. It might be travel, might not be travel, but whatever it is, just push forward, put a smile on your face, and make it happen.
It is hard to decide if part 1 or part 2 is my favorite part of that conversation. They were both so good. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I do. And remember, let me know in the comments below if you would like me to publish more of my weekly podcast interviews as videos here on YouTube. Like this video if you learned something new, share it with someone